Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hot Topics, the show where we create, inspire, and
Transform.
there you go. This is Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory, where I talk about depression, anxiety, PTSD, a natural way and a holistic way to always make you feel better. And next to me, like always, my beautiful co host, Kia Baker.
Oh my God, I'll just never get tired of that intro. Hi, everybody. If you do not know me by now, my name is Kia Baker, and I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast. And you can check out a brand new episode that I released last night, and this one is a good one. It is insane, this story. And the stories of these women are so powerful, good or bad. I tell the true story, and it's the women who serve in the military, whether it's in the United States and very soon anywhere from around the world. So if you are a female and you have served in the military in your country and you want to share your experience, reach out to me. You can drop me an email here or go to thefemaleveteranspodcast.com or my Instagram at the Female Veterans Podcast and send me a DM and I'll reach out to you. I am also the creator of Women Warrior Stories for the Veterans Channel, as well as success coach at London Real Academy. That's right, where our fearless leader and my friend, Brian Rose, is running for mayor in London. So if you're in London, check out London Real on YouTube and follow his journey. And if you're feeling his vibe, vote for him.
And we're doing like a Brian Rose do. Everything is for free. We are talking about him for free.
If I didn't believe in him, I would never say his name. So,
I know that, but he likes everything free.
yeah. Yes, he does love that we give him those shout outs. Every little bit helps.
Of course. I hope he give us a shout out one day.
One day he's going to come on Hot Topics is all.
Yeah. So Kia, so how you feel today?
To be honest with you, I feel a little bit bloated.
And why?
Because I ate a bagel. So, I have fibromyalgia and I mostly never eat gluten, but I love bagels. I love bagels. And so every now and again, I feel like you have to treat yourself,
Right.
And so I treated myself, but I'm paying the price for it. So, yeah, this is what it is. When you have a special diet, and typically I am very careful with my diet because it makes me feel so much better. I have a lot less fibromyalgia episodes of downtime where I'm sick and in bed. So I eat really well and I exercise and I take care of myself. But every now and again, honey, you got to treat yourself. So I did.
Totally.
And I know the consequences and I'm paying them. How are you?
I feel wonderful, Kia. Wonderful.
You do?
Of course, when the things going on, you have to say good. Something shitty happens, good.
Okay. That's right.
So
Yes.
I have to say I feel wonderful.
Girl, I understand. But you know what? You look very pretty today. Your
Really?
skin looks amazing. Tell me, what are you doing with your skin these days?
Well, I'm putting my ritual oil that is moringa oil, and that the one that I gave you too.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. And also my Cindy Crawford creams that I've been using for 5 years. And
You
that's
use
it.
Meaningful Beauty? We're gonna
For
shout out.
5 years.
I love Meaningful Beauty. We're gonna shout out Meaningful Beauty. Ladies,
Yes, I
gentlemen.
love it. I have 5 years and, I look like a Cindy Crawford already.
I mean, for a 95-year-old woman,
Yes.
you're slaying the game. You're slaying the game.
Exactly. I said, well, I'm gonna buy this cream and maybe I use it, maybe I'm gonna look like Cindy Crawford. And the only thing I have to do is just a little dot here.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually love the ritual oil you
Me
sent me.
too.
Moringa oil with blue lotus. That
Oh
is what
my
it is.
God.
Anyone who is interested, and it smells amazing. It feels amazing on your skin. And I feel like I'm aging backwards using that stuff. Like some of
Yes.
my finer lines that I was developing are diminishing. I had like these little lines coming on my forehead that just started this year. I mean, they've been sort of coming since I was like, I don't know, 30. And they were beginning to get like a little bit more noticeable to me. No one else notices them, but I notice them, right? Because it's me.
Right, right,
And
right.
it's diminishing them. So if you want to add something amazing to your skincare regimen, we both have tried moringa oil for over a month now for me, and longer for you. And it's
Yes.
amazing. It's amazing.
Amazing. I love it. And I also I'm trying another moisturize that have it moisturized and another components that is like a work like a foundation, but you put it in, it's not you don't feel like it's a foundation. It's like it covers perfectly, like it gets to your skin color, and people think that your face is perfect. And when I go out, a lot of people, oh my God, your face is so perfect, your skin is so perfect, and I said, oh my God, I love this thing.
Is it
This
tinted moisturizer?
yes,
I love tinted moisturizer. When I lived in Miami, that was like my staple, especially for going to the beach with a good
yeah,
SPF in it. Oh,
yes.
I
This
love
one
that.
have 30, so I love it.
I love it. You'll tell me the brand and we'll talk. I'll
I
try
I
it out.
will. I will. I'm trying. That's why I don't talk too much about it because I'm trying to simple life my life. So and also Kia, I discovered a cheap shampoo that is working wonders for my hair because I have a lot of problems with my hair. So I love this cheap shampoo. Like oh my God, why I didn't know about this?
So you have to tell us about that after you give it a good go, and we'll share it with
Yes.
everyone who tunes in, male or female. We advocate for you to take care of yourself and love yourself. This self-care is self-love. These are our rituals.
And Kia, I try very expensive shampoos. Now I'm trying this cheap shampoo compares to other shampoos, and this shampoo is wonderful. Hey Tendai, how are
Hi, Tendai.
you?
Hey, family. We're so
My
glad that you can tune in today.
our house from Texas.
That's right. Our home
Yeah,
away from home.
yeah, exactly. So Kia, tell me
Yes.
what we have a wonderful guest today. And I
Oh,
want to I want to jump on that right away because I'm very curious about him.
okay. So his name is Karsten, right? And
Yes.
he is an entrepreneur. Hi, Johnny. Aren't you
Hey,
supposed to be
Johnny Durango.
Aren't you supposed to be working? Anyway, he is an entrepreneur. He is a life and health hacker, a coach, and an ecological designer. Okay. If you don't know what that is, stay tuned because we're about to teach you all about it. And he has such a passion for life, you and just nature and just helping people. And he's so sweet. That was one of the things I noticed about him first. Again, one of my incredible, amazing students that I helped bring his new business to life, his concept. And I loved it so much. I really am a huge supporter of it. And I could not wait to bring him to Hot Topics. He lives life to the fullest, right? And when you
Really?
meet him, you can tell from his energy just how much he does, what a zest for life he has, and how passionate he is. And his intention, and we always set intentions, and but his intention is really beautiful. It's fulfilling his ecosystemic potential as a human being. And I love that. And I think we all could benefit from learning how to do that. So I wanted to
Right.
bring him on. He is a master in holistic practices, and he just has a really unique take on, existence itself, really. And so I'm really excited to bring him on and have him share his knowledge with everyone with the hope that he might be able to enlighten and help someone transform their life.
So
So,
let's bring that wonderful and spectacular human being right now.
welcome, Karsten, to Hot Topics.
Hi, Karsten. How are
Woohoo.
you?
Hello, sweetie.
Hello. Whew, I'm blushing already just from the introduction. Thank
So,
you
Karsten.
for that nice introduction. And yeah, it's so good to be here. Thank you.
So, Karsten, tell everybody in Hot Topics where you're from, where are your location, and what time is now.
Here it's about, well, it's now 8:30. I'm in Portugal, Lisbon. And but I'm not Portuguese. So my father was German, my mom is from Luxembourg. They met here in Portugal. I like the idea of having been conceived in the south of Portugal, and but my parents went to Luxembourg to give birth. And but I grew up here in Portugal. Went to German school, so I speak German at home as well. And yeah, and then Portuguese, English, French, and Spanish. But
Mm.
yeah,
Spanish
it
too?
sí,
Oh
claro. Y
my
hablo portugués,
God.
entonces hablo
Oh,
español.
claro, sí.
Oh, I'm so
Sí.
exciting.
Wow. Yes. Awesome.
I love this. So I can tell you why Gloria is excited. But before I do, I would like to say that, as you know, this is our disclaimer. Here at Hot Topics, we don't agree with what everyone's opinions are, most certainly.
Oh,
And when we invite our guests, we love to hear what their thoughts and views are, but we may not share those thoughts and views. But we fully believe in their right to express them. So that is our disclaimer number one. And typically we say if you are not 18 years old, you must click off because sometimes our content is not appropriate for those
Right.
who are not 18. If you are sensitive to language and sometimes content, then perhaps this is not the right show for you. But I suspect that this episode might be okay. But I just have to say it.
Yes.
And
Yes,
so
in case we just left a F
you never,
here and
you
there.
never know because anything possible could come out of Gloria's mouth. We just don't know what's going to happen at any moment.
That's
that
true.
is really funny because I'm actually one of those guys that like whew, how do I explain this? I'm Aries and Scorpion in ascendants. So I'm in Portuguese. You say that não tens papas na língua, meaning you don't have oats in your mouth. That means that you say whatever you think. I think I like to think about myself as being really straight up. So I'm over 18 as well.
Goodness.
Thank God. Thank God.
And we really respect your openness. And we are so excited to hear that because we're going to ask you so many questions. And I
Yes.
am so excited that you speak Spanish because that means you could potentially be a guest on the bilingual show to Gloria and take your
Yes.
message to Spanish speaking countries and people
Oh,
all over
yes.
the globe. So that's really
Wow,
exciting to me
that
as
would be
well.
awesome. Yeah,
Let's get into
great.
it.
Let's do
Karsten,
it.
tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get into ecosystems of humans?
Ooh. Well, this really started when I was a kid. My nature was kind of, when it was raining, I put a raincoat on and I would go down into that garden that is a little bit lower than our house. And I would make rivers with water. I would collect snails and slugs and spiders and worms and everything that was like animals and then later also plants was my thing. I liked aquariums. I liked these ant colonies. I liked everything that was kind of alive and moving around and kind of overlooking the whole thing. And it's you get into this meditative state with all these things, and you just drift off into this world. And so then my youth was relatively normal. You go to school and you get educated, and then you are kind of forced into normalness. And I wanted to play soccer, wanted to be a soccer player. I was always into sports as well. But then later, I started like questioning everything. But this only came with my father giving me a trigger, which was a bonsai book. Um, so I connected to the plants and to, you know, the whole species behind it. So as I'm speak many languages, I'm very familiar with scientific names of plants. But then especially with like the pattern of the tree and how, you know, how you have this dendritic pattern, which is like the bifurcation of a bifurcation, and it ends up being a fractal. But yeah, I connected to that, and then I started digging trees out all over the place, like little trees, like bushes, and then making miniature trees out of that. But then it didn't stop there. I just then reconnected to cactuses and to or cacti. That's the right word. To succulent plants, and then it started with gardening and with vegetables and with parsley and all the other things that you can grow. Um, but I was still studying tourism at that time because I had some trouble, in school, like trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life? Like, what is this all about? And I was studying tourism because it made sense. I speak 5 languages, and I'm kind of multicultural. And but then, I started realizing that I actually want to go into plants and into bonsais and into agriculture. So I started studying agriculture. Almost finished the the tourism course, and then I jumped immediately into agronomy, which is kind of, they call
Ah,
it
that is
agronomic
awesome.
engineering, which is basically agriculture. um, do you guys hear me? Well, yes,
Yes.
Yes.
because I
Yeah.
thought there
Yes.
were some cuts.
Yeah. You froze for
And then, but then during agronomy, YouTube was starting up kind of, um, and was this new space that you could look for things. And I found out about synergistic agriculture, which is basically having in consideration that there are interactions between plants. And so this always brought me back into permaculture design, which is like a design where you basically copy nature and you bring it into human culture in all aspects of culture, even energy production, growing food, natural building, for houses, and so on. Which is kind of, the thing that brought me to kind of ecological design. And it was like an explosion of consciousness or something, because I'm like, whoa, nature is so much bigger than we actually think of it. We always try to make things better than nature, while nature is actually perfect already.
Perfect.
And I think it has to do with our disconnectedness or our taking out of context in nature. One of the things that I've been doing in permaculture courses or in food forest courses, food forest is like a garden that is imitates a forest, but is only like edible, medicinal, and resource plants. Um, is I ask people to visualize nature, and to close their eyes. And then I ask them, how many people have you seen in that picture? And usually they say nobody. It's because we've taken out ourselves out of the context. So there's a big disconnection with nature. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm going really deep into it. You got to stop me. So yeah, this is basically how I got into this. I was really trying to understand what I want to do with my life, and basically I went back into childhood, and there was the answer. All the stuff that I did before.
Wow. I'm a green thumb in my when I start processing my growing into my spirituality and growing all these traumas. I went to study for 2 years and a half bonsai. I did have 40 bonsais myself, and then it's too much work, so I started giving it away. And then also I work in the museum as a volunteer to take care of the 500-year bonsai here in Florida. So I know what you mean with the contact with the nature, and the way the plants, they talk to you, and the way so disconnect we are from them. And I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Bonsais is just almost like
Bonsais.
a, you know, it's beautiful.
It's
It's an
beautiful.
art to kind of imitate nature, but in a very tiny way, you know. And it's almost like a meditation as well. But for
It
me, it was
is
really just a trigger, you know. Yeah.
a trigger. Wow.
Wow, I can't keep plants alive. So, I mean, I got kids and pets, but plants, it's difficult. So I have had two for the last 2 years. I don't know how they're still alive, but they're hanging in there. And I'm determined to master it because I would really like to go grow food. So tell me, Karsten, I'm really interested when you say a food forest, right? That's what you said.
Yes.
Can you
Yeah.
elaborate on that? How does one begin to develop something like that?
So a food forest is it's basically the imitation of the pattern of the forest. You know, like if you everything is patterns. There is nothing that is not, basically. Even if you go into the molecular structure of everything that is around you, it's always in patterns and structures and, you know, in geometric forms and so on, which kind of goes back into the flower of life, so to speak. But, you know, if you look into a forest, usually you have more or less about 7 layers within that forest. You have herbaceous plants that, you know, the creepers, and then like ground covers, and then you have small herbaceous plants or a little bit higher, and then you have start having small bushes, and start becoming woody. And then you have bigger bushes or small trees, and then like medium trees and really large trees. And then you have climbing plants, and you have, you know, some plants that concentrate on their roots, like potatoes, sweet potatoes, and I don't know, Jerusalem artichoke or something like that. So you just have in consideration all these different levels. And then obviously you have to have in consideration a certain group of plants, which are nitrogen fixing plants. Nitrogen is like the main, you know, basically what you need for protein in general. And it's the main nutrients of plants. Like every time you buy like chemical fertilizer, or you look at it, it says a ratio of NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So nitrogen fixing trees or plants go from clover until, for example, acacias or like locust or um, whatever, tagasaste, beans, you know, all soybeans, also uh, all these different plants. Like it's a really big family. The thing about these plants is they have a symbiosis in the root system, which you know, brings nitrogen from the air, from the atmosphere into the soil. And every time you cut these plants, this nitrogen gets fixed in the soil. And so you have these plants right at the beginning, and you have like 90% of these plants, and then you only 10% production plants, food, and then basically you turn the whole thing around, and then you have 90% production plants and only 10% of these trees. And having filled out all these different layers with everything that makes sense to you, like what do you want to have? Do you want to have firewood? So plant that. You know, you want to have raspberries? Plant that. You want to have chicken food? Plant that. You know, you have, I don't know, like uh, joint pain? Plant some comfrey. You know, comfrey is almost good for everything, but it's good for, you know, joints or muscles or injuries in basically you have in consideration all these needs. You you establish a vision, you then make an assessment to see everything that is around. You gather all these things together. You know about your land. Where is the sun shining? What type of climate are you in?
Oh my God, that's
Um,
awesome.
how much does it rain and all of that. Basically, you have everything in consideration. What kind of people are around, what cultures, for example, Gloria, for example, she wants probably to have some, what's it called again? Some salsa, or some, some tomatoes or whatever. I'm more into growing animals now, so I'm definitely looking into plants that are animal foods. Um, so yeah, basically it's a forest that is, made for you or for your needs or for your community's needs or for your country's needs or for your company's needs, whatever. It really depends on the context. And that is the really cool thing about permaculture because it's very contextual, right? You have it's a design,
So, so,
it's
up,
not
so a
one thing fits all.
So a person who wants to like buy a land, a house, and they want to start growing something, so they will contact you for you to guide them what they need to plant, what is good for the person, like a design for your land, for your needs, and then you guide the person through.
Exactly. Yeah. As a designer. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
beautiful.
can't be, I can make the whole design or just coach you through it.
Right,
It
right.
it is crucial that the person that wants to grow it needs to learn about it
Of
because
course.
it's otherwise you just have a gardener, right? Or it can be a different kind of gardener. Usually gardeners nowadays are cleaning ladies from the outside, because they just, just vacuum clean and cut the grass and all of that. And they're actually destroying the soil with that because they're exporting all the nutrients from the soil. Here I do a different job, like you really respect nature and how everything cycles and so on. And there's a lot more to it than just, the food forest. You can make many different connections. And again, that's one of the things in permaculture. It's you have all these different elements within the system that interconnect with each other, and you just have in consideration from here, it goes to there and is used like that and transforms into something other and so on. A very typical example is you have a kitchen, you have a compost pile, and you have the garden, right? So the kitchen produces kitchen waste, which goes to the compost pile that then goes to the garden. And then the garden gives more stuff to the kitchen, right? And
Oh
the
my
compost pile can
God.
have some worms. If you have some chickens, the worms can go to the chickens. The chickens eat the worms that bring food to the kitchen again. So everything cycles really. And permaculture is based on all these different principles and on how nature actually works. Just like it's like common sense. Um,
That
but you
is
have all these
awesome.
different principles that you use. Yeah. And then also permaculture design or like holistic management specifically because holistic management is something very similar, but more the holistically managed grazing is more for animals, and this is the thing that has been my focus right now. Um, they're all based on at least three main values, which are earth care, people care, fair share, nothing else. And then this is the basis, basically.
Wow, that's really cool. So, my question is this. Okay, what if I lived in a city? Because, we've got a lot of people in lockdown right now. And with everything going on in the world, maybe they're thinking of how to grow their own food, right? And so I've been doing
Yeah.
some reading recently on urban gardening. And do you know anything about that? Could you provide any sort of ideas for people who live in cities who want to start doing something similar, but with a limited space?
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good question also. I think the main thing right now, because we already have it at our disposal, but it's not being used. and that's compost. You know, the states I really like is specifically California because they have a very good composting system. And you have people that pick up your compost, like your food scraps, and then they bring you the soil, uh, you know, as an exchange, and they keep most of it because they make so much. But I think like, you know, starting to compost is something that I think of all people should do. You know, I have kind of a rule here at my place, which is no organic material leaves the house. You know, I get in a fight with my mom when she throws away some organic stuff. So because I also do, you know, worm composting, but really just you know, um, look into perennial vegetables. I think that's for me right now. That's the one thing. The thing about perennial vegetables is that you know don't need to reseed them every year.
Wow.
They reseed themselves. Like for example, arugula does that. New Zealand spinach does that. Or they they just die off and they go into their roots in the winter and then they sprout the next spring. Maybe more plants than just one. You know, like for example, onions would do something like that. You have many different kinds of perennial onions and garlics. For example, society garlic is one of them. And these are very easy plants to grow, and they don't you don't need to have a lot of work. And usually, you know, if you jump into lettuce, good luck, because you're gonna have a slug problem, you're gonna have a snail problem, which actually is basically just a deficiency and not a slug problem. But you know, it's more difficult, and it's a plant that you know requires some attention, and you probably need to put some slug or snail traps out there. You know, glasses with beer or some copper things that you put around the plant so they're not getting you know the snails don't eat them. So and with perennial vegetables and many of these plants, they're just easier to grow. You don't need to be um, planting these plants every year, and you can concentrate on what is really important, and that is the soil. You know, agriculture means culture of soil. It doesn't mean culture of plants. You know, so agri means soil. So yeah, it's and this is where agriculture actually went exactly the other way around. You know, they're trying to grow plants. They're not growing soil. That's why everything is fucked up. Sorry. That
Yes,
was the first
yes.
F word, but it's really that is really the reason, you know. Agriculture also specifically has separated animal production systems from the plant production system. Yeah.
Wow, that is really incredible. I just learned so much from you. Like when I go to set up my garden, what kind of plants to use, to check where the sunlight is coming from, the weather conditions in my area, the type of soil that I have, to
Yeah.
compost. This is great information. And
It is.
I love that.
Where does the water come from? You know, where does the water come from? Where are you gonna have the shade? You know, where
Mm.
is the wind coming from? Some plants like wind, some others not so much. Some plants grow in the shade, some really need the sun. So you need to know the plant and then, you know,
So how long
sorry
a
to
per
interrupt.
it's okay. So how long the person need to study the land where it's
So
gonna
yeah,
plant?
I mean, like if just looking into perennial vegetables, you will find a lot of stuff.
Fantastic. So we talked a lot about, plants and the ecosystem, but I would like to talk about, if we can shift a little bit, about your holistic mastery. Let's talk about that. How did
Yes.
you? So I'm imagining that all of this study of plants and soil and agriculture led you into living a more holistic lifestyle. What's the story with that?
So yeah, it started a little bit with permaculture, actually. You know,
Oh,
I went into plants, and then this brought me to permaculture. And permaculture is a holistic way of, you know, a holistic design science, kind of. And the holistic word stuck with me, you know. Um, Reason for which I basically am, you know, we're on a hot topic. So this is a hot topic, I think, for, wait, no, you guys are back? You guys are
Yeah,
back. No,
yeah.
I lost you,
Yeah, yes,
the
yes,
three of us
yes,
actually. So,
yes.
you know, this is very interesting for me. I don't function. You guys were talking about shampoos and creams and, you know, all of that stuff before. And I don't take any of that stuff, or I don't put any of that stuff on my skin. I just use 100% natural things. So this yeah, where do I start? Like the holistic thing. Sorry, I drifted off a little bit, but the holism, you know, seeing everything as a whole. It didn't make sense to me using shampoos because there are many chemicals in there that are not natural things, and as I'm a natural being, like there's only supposed to come natural stuff on top of me, you know, and in there, and you know, on in general, you know, on my skin, in my mouth,
Right,
and whatever.
right, right.
So and I you know, it started not making sense using all these different things. Reason for which, like 12 years ago, I started a fruitarian diet because I wanted to be healthy, and it seemed to be the healthiest thing there is because, you know, obviously there was a lot of propaganda in that sense as well. Because I'm on the exact opposite spectrum right now, but um, it did make sense continuing to, you know, have these things in my life that did make sense. So I wanted to, you know, what permaculture does is, you remember the three values, right? Earth care, people care, fair share. And people care is like, you know, taking care of yourself or of your brothers and sisters and, you know, and friends. Um, so that also includes obviously taking care of your health. And so health was a very interesting or important thing for me. I had some health issues in the past. I had some food intolerances as well. And I still have some food intolerances, especially because I'm on a completely crazy diet for most people, especially culturally. But you know, I notice everything that is sensitive to my body. Now, this whole, you know, the mind is part of it. Um, the
Yes.
Because it's ever where everything starts. Where your heart is also part of it. You know, that's why, you know, you haven't mentioned the name of my project yet. It's called MindShape HeartSet. Because I understood that I really needed to work on myself 4 years ago. You know, I had a rough relationship ending, and I really hit the floor, kind of. It was so good to be doing all this external work of, you know, working with ecosystems and trying to recover ecosystems, but the inner ecosystem was not okay. You know, there is no separation between me and me outside. You know, like the outer, I don't know if you know about Alan Watts, but, you know, he talked about the outside organs, so to speak. You know, your lung brings oxygen into your bloodstream and puts a CO2 out, which is what the trees need to grow. They and the prairies obviously as well, but the plants in general. They need that, and they produce oxygen again, and then there's this exchange with you. So they're part of your outer organs because they're producing that stuff for you. So the ecosystem is part of you as well. Now, I wasn't doing as much inner work as I should be doing. And inner work is not only the mind, the heart, and the body through nutrition. Yeah, I mean, it's not only the mind, or it's not only the one of them. It's all of them together, right? So yeah, this is where I kind of started going into personal development. Because I had low self-esteem, low self-confidence. I always suffered under that thing of I'm not good enough, reason for which I was always only temporarily successful in my jobs, in my relationships, and so on. There was a hype, and then everything went down again. So I realized that I needed to work on myself. So I went into meditation. I did Vipassana for like maybe 5 retreats, 10-day retreats in silence and so on. I did ayahuasca. I started, looking for everything that was related to Tony Robbins. And then, I was already into like healthy lifestyle. I was doing sports. And then, I started finding out about more and more. And this is how kind of MindShape HeartSet then formed itself, basically through the Business Accelerator course, because this is how I live. I meditate every day. I do breath work. I take cold showers, or actually, I have a natural pool back there with fishes and shrimp and even yesterday. No, actually today I took the ducks out because they were causing a disaster in there. I swim in my pool every day, which is right now ice cold. And then, I move. I do intermittent fasting or prolonged fasting sometimes as well. And then I'm on what I call an ancestral diet, which basically is a carnivore diet, where you eat nose to tail of the animal. Yeah, so this is basically what I brought together with for my lifestyle. It helped me a lot, toughen up, become more self-confident. I'm very much into as I speak so many languages, and this was actually a part of me that was not as much developed, I think. How to speak. I don't know if you know about human design, but in human design, my throat chakra is not the strongest part. So this is a part that I actually needed to develop.
Me too.
And so I'm very careful how I talk to myself right now.
Yes.
Because I think our brain is like a supercomputer, and the self-talk we have is the program it's running. This is from Jim Quick. But it truly is like that. How we speak to ourselves and how we treat ourselves is then what happens to ourselves, in our lives. And I really believe that all of the things that happened to me that brought me into, again, a relationship that ended very, very sadly, or in a not at all cool way, as a reason for, me attracting this with how I thought about myself, how I talked to myself, and I wasn't good enough. So I wasn't good enough.
Wow. So you basically and you
So I don't know if I have responded to your question with that, but it's been a rough ride, but it's the ride really worth doing.
So what
Yeah,
exactly
Gloria,
when
are you? I think you're muted. I don't know.
No, I'm not. No.
I don't hear you.
No, you don't hear me? Kia, do you hear me?
Can you speak from both? You guys are hearing me, right?
Yes.
We hear you, and I hear you,
Okay.
Gloria.
Okay, I wasn't hearing Gloria right now.
Now you hear me?
Still not. No.
Oh,
Weird.
Still
that's
no.
weird.
Oh, we're having a sound issue.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
What about me? What about me? Do you hear me?
I can't hear you.
No?
Wow, that's weird.
That is very strange. I will
Mysterious.
say.
So you
Oh
want
my
to
goodness.
translate for her or something?
I guess I'm gonna have to. Tell me,
Yeah.
Gloria, what?
Kia, so my question was to him, so what kind of people is gonna look for him to help in what area?
Okay. So, what's your clientele like? What kind of people are gonna look for you to help in what particular areas? And then I have a question.
So I've been a little bit down low in terms of permaculture design. I kind of reopened it again. I'm using my channel with the MindShape HeartSet already for that. So I kind of went a little bit backwards in that sense, and or expanding a little bit the MindShape HeartSet into ecological design, which kind of was something that I always wanted to do from the beginning, but it's a lot of stuff. So yeah, right now I'm reaching out to people that just want to start somewhere. And then I'm also connected to some friends who are already active in permaculture design projects, or something that goes into that direction. Usually these are people that are a little bit more off grid, that want to have gray water systems for your washing machines or something like that, or people who are interested in natural pools, as well. And yeah, usually it's people around my age, that want to move to the land, and
How old are
want to
you?
live a different kind of life, basically, because we're living in the city has become no, it has always been actually, completely unsustainable. So yeah.
So tell me, Karsten, Gloria wants to know how old you are.
How old do you think I am?
I'm not good to get. I'm not good
She's
guessing.
not good at guessing.
I'm 37. Yeah.
So that's very cool. And I know that people that are interested in understanding more about permaculture can reach out to you.
Yeah.
And also people who are interested in learning how to get started with their urban gardens could reach out
Yeah.
to you as well. And
Yeah.
people who want to achieve a certain level of holistic mastery could also reach out to you on that regard. Okay, so there's so much to you and so much to everything you do with the two sort of parts of this whole ecosystem of being human. I love what you said about being one with the outside. So oneness outside and the other part of yourself, because we're all part of this ecosystem, right? And how I really loved when you said that when people imagine the outside in nature and they don't see any humans, right? And how this shows how detached we are from nature and the very, very importance of reconnecting with nature. For so
Yeah.
many reasons. There's so many reasons why it's so important to be out in nature and to reconnect with nature, that we could have a whole nother show about that, right? But something that was really powerful that you said, if I could go back to it and touch on that a little bit more, is when you were talking about self-worth, because and the negative self-talk, because this is something that's really near and dear to my heart. I work with a lot of female veterans with this issue as well, and women in general when I do workshops. And I think it's really important to help people understand that a lot of times we are conditioned with false narratives running on repeat in our mind, right? And this could come from a friend, a family member, a parent, a teacher, someone who's told you something that triggered a negative emotional response from you, and that emotion is stored in your body. And every time you hear this negative thing or someone triggers you to relive this moment or rehear that, something happens, like, you know, maybe you made a mistake at work, and you have to be spoken to, and suddenly you feel like a complete and utter failure when it was just a little incident or mistake or something that was so small. You know, it's a million of these little things that can set us off on this sort of self-shaming spiral and feelings of unworthiness. And that's so important, I think, to talk about and to let people know that if you don't become aware of your negative self-talk, and then that negative self-talk is going to guide your life. So if you're wondering why you're unable to achieve success, if your relationships are failing, if your friendships are not solid, if you feel just generally unworthy and bad, it's because that's what you're telling yourself on some level, whether it's subconsciously or whether it's on a loop that you hear constantly, or it appears as an intrusive thought, meaning a thought that you don't want to think, but it just pops into your mind. And it's just really negative, and it brings you down, and it makes you feel horrible. So what the three of us are trying to tell you right now is the importance of changing that. And it's not easy, and it takes time, right, Karsten? But you have
Yeah.
to do it to have a better life. So, Karsten, that lead in was for my next question. How were you able to begin changing your negative self talk?
I love that question.
Um, well, it really, it really start with going through the shit. I really needed to go to the rock bottom, and go through that what is called a Kensho moment in my life. You know, you have Satori moments and you have Kensho. Satori is when, where's my hand? So you have a learning curve. Satori is like a plateau, and then it goes up again, right? A Kensho is it goes up, but then it goes down in your growth. You go to the shit, and then you go up again, right? So I really had to hit the floor, kind of. That was where I realized, I was always kind of moving in that direction, um, but there were some things that I really needed to go through. So, and I'm really grateful about that right now. It wasn't easy at that time, but it was a decision, really. I needed to decide. I will not let that happen to me again. And the decision was, me going into a relationship with myself, really. And this is the only relationship that I now value. All the other relationships are kind of a byproduct by my relationship with myself. That's why now I have cool, girl relationships, or romantic relationship. I don't know the word for that. So yeah, then you need to find the tools. One of the tools was meditation. You need to go into the stillness to be able to hear something, because otherwise you're not hearing. If you always have something on, if you're always reading something on the phone, or usually it's not reading, it's more like a video or something, you're always distracted from what is. And you really need to go into feeling what is. And that is only possible through stillness. You close your eyes. I actually use these protectors for, working with machines. And it closes up all the sound, basically. And I sit every day for at least 15 minutes, usually twice, and just pay attention to my breathing. Or sometimes I do some other work as well, because meditation is not one thing. There are many techniques. I also do creative visualization and kind of Reiki stuff with me, also with visualizations. But always in that, when I do other stuff than just listening to the nothing or to my breath, I go into a discourse that is, healing, that giving myself love and feeling love, and going into, you know um, into a space where I do good things for myself. you know Now, in terms of, there's one really cool tool, which is basically journaling. uh,
Right.
um,
Love that.
Yes.
yeah. and
Gloria and
I
I both agree.
and I and I just tried all these different things. And I started with one which I call the to be do list. Instead of it being just a to do list, I call it a to be and then do list. So one side was everything that I was, and then all the stuff that I was doing, during that day. And then I just started with, I am strength or strong. I am sexy. I am nice. I am fast. I am smart. I am whatever, like everything, like a big list of everything that I liked and everything that I believed I was. Um, and sometimes you have to kind of convince yourself a little bit. But like it really starts with you being in alignment with those things that you believe yourself, or that you want to be. um you you it's that middle thing, like it's not one thing, not nor the other. Like, you kind of fake it until you make it, but you're already it already. You are already it, really. But
Yes.
it's just your belief system, and basically it's your belief system that really needs to change. um so so
So
then,
I
like, I
have a
went through all these
question.
different kinds of things in journaling, techniques, and like questions, making lofty questions. Why am I so lucky? Why am I so good looking, or something like that?
You know what? Gloria has a question for you.
Yeah, the question is, when he got into the self-esteem issue that he mentioned that he have,
Hmm.
how he work in the self-esteem issue, what kind of techniques he used to move that on.
Okay. So are these the same techniques that you use to improve your self-esteem issue? Like the journaling and all of this? This is what you did?
Well, for myself, I've done that. That's not part of my program right now, like the one that I'm selling
Right.
online. But like, if I would go into like coaching sessions or something like that, this would be definitely something that I would kind of mentor people into, like, try this out, try this out, try that out. But yeah, this is the stuff that I do for myself, or I've done. Now I'm doing something different. Now I'm doing, one is just one goal that I have, that I kind of elaborate a little bit every day, and I write it down every day. And then it's accompanied by one of the categories of my life that I kind of have done in my, what is called the life book. You probably know it from John and Missy Butcher.
Yes.
They have this course on Mind Valley, and I just
Hmm.
took that idea and did it for myself. Without doing the course, I understood the concept and just, pull it out. And every day I write about one of those 12 areas of my life. And then I add to that a little bit of something called Rampage of Appreciation, where I just talk about how nice all the little things are and how much I love them.
Beautiful.
Where, and it's just something like, I have one mantra for myself, which is, I love knowing that things are always working out for me.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I
That's
think,
one of mine
yeah,
too.
yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
this this is one of my main sentences actually, because I like to. It's called no, it's not called pivot. What is it? Priming. Um, and this is just, a collection of all the things that I learned from, when I took the decision to work on myself. I started, buying books all over the place, and, everything from Tony Robbins, Brandon Burchard, Vishen Lakhiani, and all these guys,
Love
um,
it.
Joe Dispenza. So, so I read all of these different books, and just took all the things and experimented with them, and implemented them into my morning routine, basically. And then, the whole, I really like Tony Robbins, and I think he's such a kind man, actually. And many people get kind of threatened with him because he's such a beast, and he's so straight up, and like there's fuck, fuck, fuck all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, but he's like his history is amazing, his story of how he came to where he is right now. And I started doing the breath work that he was doing. I was doing some Wim Hof before, but then, during the breath hold, I would do visualizations, like every day, like first one, just gratitude, and then one looking into the now and feeling, no, wait. One was gratitude, one was looking into the future. That was the third one. And then one was, like forgiveness. So I tried everything basically, because I really needed healing, like I was really just in it was hurtful where I was, and I really needed to work on myself. So I did basically everything and tried out a little bit from here and there. So I
Wow.
think
Wow.
I think Laura wants to have a question.
Yes.
No,
Gloria.
we just have 1 hour already.
Okay, yes. So we are going to wrap up soon, but I have to ask one more question before we talk a little bit about your business and where everybody can find you.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so earlier you were talking about, skincare and taking care of yourself. And you said that you don't put anything unnatural on your body. And everybody knows that Gloria and I like really natural stuff,
Mm-hmm.
from vegan makeup to hair care products to the oil, to our lotus oil, moringa oil we put on our skin is really natural. But tell me, what do you use? Because
Yeah, you got me thinking.
I'm dying to know. How do you clean yourself? Like, how do you, what do you use on your skin? Like, tell us everything because we need to know.
So so I think the nutritional side is really important. You need to get your vitamins. That's why the diet that I'm on right now makes so much sense to me. Yeah, I'm on a carnivore diet. Like I'm just eating meat right now, and I'm eating nose to tail, which means that you eat liver, you eat brains, you eat kidney, you eat the fat, you eat testicles, da da da, everything, right? Spleen.
Wow.
So this supposedly has all the nutrients that you need. You mentioned vegan cream or something like that. I was on a vegan diet before, and what I realize now that there are at least 15 to 20 nutrients that will be missing. Vitamin A, vitamin B12, vitamin E, vitamin F, vitamin K2, vitamin B3, B6, and then collagen, which is really important for the skin, probably biotin, which is vitamin B7, then taurine, and many other essential amino acids. So this is something that is really important, and I think fat actually plays a very important role in that. So I'm on a no carb diet, basically, ketogenic diet, right? So only occasionally I eat some fermented foods. So fermented foods is probably something good as well. Um, sauerkraut is so easy to do. Just chop up a cabbage, add 3% salt to it. You massage the thing, put it in a jar, compact it, close it, and wait. In about a week, it's good to start eating. So I'm a geek in that as well. So now in regards to skincare or something, so I don't use any creams other than coconut oil. If I want to have some smell in it, I put some essential oil in it. I use sodium bicarbonate for my armpits if I stink, and you can actually be stinking like hell, and then you put it on your armpit and the smell just disappears. You just make your hand, you make your hands wet. You put a little bit on your hand and you rub them. You do like this, and the smell just completely disappears.
Where do you find that?
Sodium bicarbonate?
In the kitchen.
It's soda, I think, isn't it?
Baking soda?
Not soda.
Is that
baking.
Baking soda.
Yeah.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. I have tons of it all over my house.
Yeah, but the pure one, like it has to be sodium bicarbonate, not the one, because I think there's some other stuff in there. Maybe, I don't know.
So check the label.
Yes, it's what is it? Na2 HCO3, something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So yeah, that, and then like I've been washing myself only with apple cider vinegar since 2012.
Apple vinegar all over?
With what? Like with water?
Yes.
So curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the shower.
So when you go in the shower, you have like what, a bottle of it in there? And then obviously it's organic.
And actually not. Actually, right now not. But it's I think it has some sulfites in it. But other than that, it's
So you put that on your skin.
Yeah, it burns a little bit if you have something. Yes, you need to close your eyes, please.
Oh my God! Do you dilute it with water? I have a lot of questions.
No, I'm in the shower. I go off the shower. I put it on my head. I do like this when you freshly shave, especially down there. I don't shave down there, but you guys probably do. It's gonna burn a little bit, but then the burning goes, and it's just.
I can't imagine putting that on my girl parts.
Actually,
one of the things, if for example women have candida or something like that down there, you can do two things from what I know. One is you use yogurt. You actually can put it inside because it has lactic acid bacteria, or you can wash yourself with some vinegar, and it will really only burn if there's like a little scratch or injury, or if there's an imbalance or something like that, right? So it's just as much as a fermented food as yogurt. It's lactic acid bacteria.
Wow. So so let me get this straight. Okay, so diet is super important, and making sure that you get all your vitamins and nutrients from food, right? As well as you shower in apple cider vinegar, you use baking soda as deodorant, and you use coconut oil to moisturize yourself.
Yes, and maybe some essential oils as a perfume or something. Like I like vetiver or rose.
You heard it here first.
That's a simple
Say
life.
You heard it here first. How to just be completely holistic on your body without buying a bunch of expensive products. That's incredible.
Actually, and it's amazing. Like coconut oil is so multi.
I love coconut oil. Oh my God.
Yes. But
can't
like
we're
on hot topics, so
doesn't it?
Well, it's gonna get all greasy and everything. So I wouldn't wash myself. I would just put it afterwards.
Yes, of course. Like
so
a moisturizer.
the theory behind using only using sorry. The theory behind only using apple cider vinegar for your skin. So I actually made a video back like a month back or something like that where I talked about like I made a confession that I'm not using soap and I stepped on a soapbox against soap. The thing is, in this video, I explained that, what soaps do, they have two sides of a molecule. One is hydrophilic, which means it binds to water, and the other one is lipophilic in one molecule. So it binds to water and to fat. And usually water and fat doesn't bind. Like you have water and olive oil, they never combine. They will always separate again. What soap does, it combines them. And like you have always some production of fat. So I can actually feel fat on my skin right now, but I haven't put any coconut oil. So I only sometimes I put coconut oil. Haven't been putting it too often. But like
So you mean
you
the
always
oils
have, yes, you always have oils on your skin. So what the soap does, and like these oils, they are actually, you have a skin microbiome. Like you have bacteria on your skin and they help you be protected against whatever comes from the outside. So and every time you use shampoo and soap, you're actually taking that layer off. So your body needs to be producing all the time. And this skin
the
layer,
soap has detergent in it, right? Because if it doesn't
it is a detergent.
But it has like certain chemicals that foam up, right? So if you don't have those particular chemicals, it's not as abrasive for your skin and your hair, right?
So, well, usually you have the simple soap that has that action that I was talking about. And then you have the shitty soaps that have a shitload of chemicals in there that will have even a worse effect, because you take them up through your pores, basically. So there is nutrition through the skin as well.
Like sulfate and things like that.
Yeah. So if you, what is it? Sodium lauryl sulfate and something like that, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, SLS. But just the simple soap will take your fat layer off because it has that action, it binds water with fats and you take that fat layer off. So the protection is off. Your skin needs to be producing more again. And if
people get old,
apple cider vinegar,
because their skin,
say that again.
People age prematurely because their skin is dried out because they're not producing natural oils. And I know I'm obsessed with anti-aging, I get it. But my point is, it's valid, okay? Because you're drying your skin out with all these detergents and these chemicals, right? And so, it's honey. It's honey that you can wash yourself in, not coconut oil. I just remembered that. So yes, that's really cool, Karsten.
You remember in Africa, you remember pictures of them washing themselves in milk?
Yes.
Yes. I would say it's the same. And I think you can do that with, if you have a simple kombucha, or if you have kombucha vinegar, or if you have, apple cider vinegar, you can use that. And it's actually, these are fermented foods. So they have the bacteria that are adequate to put on your skin, much more than, just taking everything off and giving you a smell. And that smell is usually something chemical. It's just read the labels, man. It's amazing. Like if you read the labels of everything and you do some research on that, you will, like it's pretty scary, all the chemicals that we are exposed to. Even detergents from your clothes, actually.
Yes.
This is the only thing that right now I'm not taking care of. But best thing as soap for your clothes is just that usual soap that most people are using to wash themselves. Even the most simple stuff. Because on your skin you have some bacteria. I think they're called nitrogen oxidizing bacteria, and they reproduce very slowly. And every time they are exposed to these kinds of chemicals that are in your detergents, they, it's very difficult for them to recover, basically. And this is probably the reason why we in this more modern society have so many skin problems and get older so much quicker than people that live in the forest, like indigenous people. They don't get old as quick as we. They have straight teeth, and this is something that what's his name, Weston Price, did a lot of research on, their teeth structure as well. And actually, we could go deeper into other things right now because I'm thinking about freezing.
Well, we're going to have to invite you back for that, Karsten, because we are running out of time.
Yes.
So before we wrap the show up, I would like for you to tell everybody where they can find you and how they can reach out if they want to be a client of yours.
Yeah, so this is already my Instagram that you have there, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, that's the MindShape HeartSet. You can also find it on Facebook, and you can take the MindShape HeartSet, and I have a link tree where all these different links are on as well. And I also have my homepage, which is khecowealth. .com, and you also have the MindShape HeartSet homepage on there. And yeah, I'm also active on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel. And what else? Well, let me know whenever you're in Lisbon, and I can tour you through my garden, and where we can jump into the pool and make some sauna or something.
I'm coming to Portugal as soon as this is all settled. I have a Portuguese trip planned where I'm going to several cities, and I start in Lisbon. So it's all on hold until the lockdown.
You got a place to stay already.
Thank you, honey. I want to tell you, thank you so much for coming to be a guest on Hot Topics Live. We really appreciate all of your insights and all of the knowledge you shared with us today. And we will definitely have to have you come back again because we could go so much deeper into so many different things, I know.
Into horror topics.
That's right.
That's for uncensored.
These topics are just pretty simple still, isn't it?
Yes.
We could go much harder topics.
Yes. Well, as you know, Hot Topics Live is having a spinoff. In the upcoming months, probably around February in the spring, we're going to launch, late winter, early spring, we're going to launch Hot Topics Live Uncensored. It is going to be on Patreon, but we will have a wonderful community that we are beginning on Discord. So if you're not familiar with Discord, I know that you may think it's for young gamers, but it's not anymore. We're going to have some chat rooms in there for us to discuss these topics and go deeper, as well as for you to be able to find out when we're going to be doing our live completely uncensored, going very deep, very hardcore, say anything we want on Patreon. So we'll definitely invite you for that.
Awesome. Perfect.
Gloria.
He still hear me?
Much.
No. Can you hear Gloria yet? No?
No.
Gloria wants to say goodbye, so I'm gonna do that.
Thank you to be in Hot Topics
so much
today.
Yeah, and Gloria, add me. We just met, so definitely add me, and we can talk a little bit if you want.
I already follow you.
She said she already follows you, and she says thank you so much for being on Hot Topics today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
See you soon. Tell him.
We're gonna see you soon. We're gonna put you in the green room right now. If you can stick around, we'll meet up with you for a quick chat after the show. If not, we understand that it's late in Europe where you are, and we will catch up with you at another time. I'll be in touch for sure.
Yeah, I'll wait for you guys. I'll wait.
All right, cool.
Thank you for coming.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Wow, that was very cool.
Yeah, I just adore him. He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, I like his energy. He's very cool.
Yeah, I knew you would. And he's a great start because I have some really incredible guests coming. Tomorrow we have a Shaolin monk who is I can't even describe him to you. He's just on another level. And he's going to come and share a lot of quantum knowledge, a lot. Like
Oh my
he's a
God.
force. I don't even know if we'll be able to ask him questions because he just is a force, but he's going to drop so much knowledge that's so beneficial for everyone. I can't wait. So I'm hoping I can still nab him because he's a very, very busy man.
Okay. Let's
And
see.
so tomorrow he's tentatively scheduled. So if you're interested in a lot of really cool stuff, tune in tomorrow. And then next week, we are going to go further into holistic and natural connections with nature, with my dear friend, Tara Ann, and she's going to come and she is just amazing. You're going to love that episode. So she's going to join us from Australia and
Wow.
talk about connecting with nature and the power of that. So I can't wait for that. And then next Thursday, my girl Jay is going to be in the house. She is a total mogul. She is the queen bee at Thrive Tribes, and she has created a multi-layer organization that just creates the ability for people to grow and rise and change their life and connect with other people and help each other to change and grow and transform, which you know what we're all about. So I can't
Yeah.
wait. She's going to share some stories with us about her time. First of all, you know we love stories about people who died. So she's got
Yes.
one. And it leads her on this journey to India and working with the guru. And she's going to talk about her experiences with
Oh
that
my
and like
God.
all of this really cool stuff. She's going to have to come back like 3 times. She has such a big story, but we're going to get you introduced to her. And so that everyone can see how incredible she is and learn from her story because it's a big one. So I can't wait for
Yes.
these guests that are coming up, honey.
So we
Well,
need to wrap it up so people don't
wrap
get
it up.
tired.
So, you know me, I'm Kia Baker, and I am the host of the Female Veterans Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. Those of you that watch live and in the replay, we love your comments. We appreciate your messages. We appreciate your likes. Thank you so much. More and more people are tuning in and showing some love. For those of you who are not feeling Hot Topics Live, just don't watch it. Don't watch it. You don't have to send any messages or anything.
Oh,
Just don't
yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
But thank God we still get more love. So, and you know what Brian says, if people aren't hating on you, you ain't doing something right. So,
I don't care what people say, to be honest with you.
yeah. So, I just appreciate those who are feeling our vibe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. We appreciate you. Thank you. And as you know, I am always joined by the magnificent, the talented, the fun, the extraordinarily beautiful, the very young at heart for a 95-year-old, glamorous, tiny doll model, Gloria Goldberg.
There you go. There she is. This is Gloria Goldberg, the founder of the podcast Unbreakable Life with Glory. We'll talk about depression, anxiety, and PTSD in a holistic way, a natural way to always make you feel better. And also the founder and the host of the bilingual show, The Gloria, where I talk about in Spanish one Friday and other Friday in English. And it's 2 p.m. Eastern Time every single Friday. So I see you there. And if you watch the replay of Hot Topics, please push hashtag replay and tell us where you're from. And if you're going to be nasty, just save your words for another moment. Thank you.
That's right. Don't forget to set your notifications. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, set your notification bell so you know when we come live, and tell people about us. And we love you and appreciate you. Have a great day.
All right, guys. See you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.